From the top of Whiteface Mountain, Adirondacks, New York, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, why keeping our mouths shut could benefit us all as cyclists, and in more ways than one.
We've also got a modified Monster Brompton, 3 new endurance bikes, the latest success of white shorts, and why New York cyclists are unhappy with electric cargo bikes. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that white shorts have already become the secret to Mathieu van der Poel's success.
In his first 2 races, after winning the World Championships, he wore black shorts and didn't win. No. Then on Saturday, he wore white shorts at the Super 8 Classic and won.
Well, I think that's definitive proof, isn't it? We don't need any more data to back that theory up.
Except, of course, that photo behind where you're wearing white shorts and didn't win anything.
Well, there is that.
Yeah.
There is that. We also learned that nice guys can finish first.
Yeah, there we go, which unfortunately shows that we were neither good enough to win, white shorts didn't work either, and we weren't nice enough either. Anyway, hats off though to Uber Domestique Sepp Kuss, who held on to win the Vuelta a España last week, keeping his 2 marauding team leaders at bay.
Well done, Sepp Kuss. And in doing that, he takes his first Grand Tour win and becomes America's first Grand Tour winner since Chris Horner at the 2013 Vuelta a España.
Yeah, it also means that we learned that downing half a bottle of champagne, as Sepp Kuss did earlier in the race, is no barrier to success. So that is perhaps something we could all aspire to, isn't it?
Well, I think cycling already has an issue of being a little bit elitist, doesn't it? So
yeah.
I think recommending that we drink half a bottle of champagne after every ride might not help in that reputation.
That is true, actually, isn't it? Right, we also learned this week that if Bear Grylls, the world's most famous hardman / survivalist, and Hank's role model, to be fair, if he were to ride a bike, he wouldn't need a mountain bike nor a gravel bike. Hell no, he would need a Brompton.
Yes, the unlikely collaboration has yielded a very nice looking bike. Brompton being famous for their iconic folding bikes, of course. This one has a moss green and mushroom colourway. Ooh. Presumably that is to help him catch and eat snakes and rats.
That's right. It's like a camo Brompton, isn't it, without being camo. It's got to be said, though, Brompton have missed a trick there, okay? I saw a brand called Kinetic selling Brompton upgrade kits to turn your Brompton into a monster Brompton. Have a look at this, right? That is a bike for Bear Grylls, make no mistake. Larger 20-inch wheels with 2.4-inch wide knobbly tyres, disc brakes.
Yeah, can't fit mudguards on it, though, unfortunately. But would Bear Grylls use mudguards? Hell no.
No.
Eating mud is definitely preferable to goat's testicles.
Goat's testicles?
Yeah, according to Google, goat's testicles is the worst thing that he's ever eaten. Which moves us seamlessly on to why you should keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, keep your mouth shut so you don't accidentally eat testicles when riding. No, bear with us on this one. Bear with us. See what I did there? Okay, Erling Haaland. Apparently, he's a famous football player.
Apparently so.
Yeah, was in the news recently after revealing on Logan Paul's podcast, which is a famous podcast, that he tapes his mouth up at night, okay, and sometimes tapes his mouth up during training, which sounds bizarre, but it turns out that Dan's been taping his mouth up at night for over a year, which actually doesn't make it sound any less bizarre when you say it. But why did you start taping your mouth up at night?
Well, let me tell you, it was after reading Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor, just over a year ago. Fascinating book, but the biggest takeaway from it, at least for me, was the importance of breathing through your nose whenever it is possible.
Okay.
And so it occurred to me that I am a mouth breather during the night.
That doesn't surprise me that you're a mouth breather.
No?
Yeah, one of those. Anyway, the upshot is that you invested in some gaffer tape after this.
Well, it's not gaffer tape. I don't know if I've been kidnapped or something. It is specific sleep tape. So
sleep tape? That's
a bit more subtle. It's not black, it's see-through.
Right.
But anyway, whilst I don't ride my bike enough to know whether there have been any benefits to my cycling and performance on a bike, it has improved my sleep according to all the data I'm getting from my Whoop.
Oh, there we go. Your commentary's been on point as well, mate. So
Thanks.
maybe it has made a difference. I did actually have a quick browse of the internet, okay, to see what was being said about Haaland taping his mouth shut. And I stumbled across an article on GQ's website.
Right.
Okay, so on there, Rise Science sleep expert Jeff Kahn said the theory behind sleeping with your mouth shut, I can't give a straight face, is that it can help you to breathe through your nose.
No Sherlock comes to mind, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not a sleep expert myself, but I reckon I could have worked out. In fact, I did work out that taping my mouth shut was probably going to help me to breathe through my nose rather than one of the other orifices.
Yeah, the article there does go on to say that nasal breathing improves oxygen saturation and is believed to improve sleep, with the caveat that more studies need to be done.
Further reading on other websites suggests that nasal breathing during exercise can do a lot of things, Si. You ready?
Okay, yeah,
It
go
can
on.
stimulate parasympathetic nervous system fibres, which are situated in the lower lungs.
Right.
It can maintain the body's pH.
What?
It can help you stay hydrated for longer.
Okay.
It also benefits weightlifters by improving diaphragmatic or belly breathing, which you kind of need apparently for sort of bracing whilst you're lifting.
Well, you did say the other day that you've beaten your chin-up PB.
I have, yeah.
I mean,
Twice.
you can probably all tell, actually.
Twice, actually. Did 10, and now I've done 11 from a straight arm start. Although that improvement may well actually have come because I've been doing some chin-ups rather than because I've been taping my mouth up at night.
Well, you're not alone, right, in cycling circles. I've heard Rigoberto Urán tapes his mouth up at night. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't performed terribly well since I heard that, but nevertheless, it's still Rigoberto Urán. And he is, potentially ahead of the game, isn't he?
Yeah, well, it was a few years ago he told me that.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, though, I would thoroughly recommend reading James Nestor's books and really fascinating stuff and information inside there. And there's also the suggestion that there could also be some significant performance benefits to nasal breathing whilst you are exercising.
You ever tried that?
I did, actually.
Did you?
I tried it on a run and I got about 1.5 kilometres through it with my mouth shut and then failed. Just felt a bit weird, slightly uncomfortable.
Did you faint? Is that what happened?
No, I didn't faint, but I just needed to breathe through my mouth. But I will persist with it and see what happens.
Well, you should do. It definitely helps you stay in zone 2. So I have been doing it for a while now.
Have you?
Well, yeah, just because sometimes if you don't have a power meter or a heart monitor, you're like, I better not try too hard. So breathing through my nose. And I can't say that I've noticed much of a benefit, it has to be said.
None at all.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe there is a benefit and you've mistakenly credited zone 2 instead.
Well, yeah, it could be that, yeah.
Anyway, we said that there might be more than one benefit to cyclists to keeping their mouths shut. So what's the other?
Well, hopefully not quite as tenuous as that one. And actually, this is more of a question, really, because I don't have the answer. But given that there seems to be a little bit more tension on the roads at the moment than normal, okay, is venting your frustration when riding giving cyclists a bad name?
I guess it might be. What are you thinking?
Well, so I was out walking the dogs the other morning, my dogs, not just random dogs, and I heard someone shouting, "Get out of my way!" And when I turned around, I saw that it was a cyclist shouting at a pedestrian across the road. Now, it wasn't me crossing the road, but I looked and I was like, there was plenty of space for her to navigate around the pedestrian, okay? So I couldn't really see what the reason was to get so irate or vocal other than the fact that pedestrian had done something that they shouldn't have done. 6:30 in the morning. Just a bit like, what was that about? If it was a car driver getting aggro at the cyclist, it would have felt super duper threatening, wouldn't it? So I kind of thought, well, that pedestrian's probably going to think that cyclists are a bunch of idiots after that. Are they giving cyclists a bad name by shouting?
Well, I tell you what, it would be much harder to convey your annoyance and road rage and anger if you had your mouth taped up, wouldn't it? Can you imagine that? Same person. I mean, that just doesn't sound anywhere near as intimidating, aggressive, or loud, does it?
No,
really?
I mean, it doesn't sound anything of the sort. It sounds like a cry for help. Like you've been kidnapped, doesn't it? You do get what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, as a minority group, it is easy for all cyclists to get tarnished with the same brush. So a bit like that cyclist that shouted at you when you were driving your car aggressively towards them. Really. If you weren't a cyclist yourself, or should I say, if you hadn't had a background in cycling, you might have taken a real dislike to cyclists because of the way he spoke to you.
That is very true. I do take your point. In your case, though, without doubt, the cyclist was in the wrong, wasn't she?
I think so, yeah.
That kind of attitude stinks, and it does give us all a bad name. But there are definitely times when speaking up benefits everyone.
Well, yes, absolutely. We have said it before, and we'll say it again right now. Speaking up to your local authority. Lobby your local authorities if you want meaningful change. That is way, way better than getting angry whilst riding your bike.
True.
I don't think anger does anything, does it?
Doesn't tend to result in a positive outcome, does it?
No.
So in conclusion then, keeping your mouth shut could improve your sleep, which in turn could improve your cycling, and it will also help prevent or reduce the chances of a war on the road.
I think that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? And if you don't want to tape your mouth shut, maybe just think before you shout.
Yeah. This is normally the time where we throw questions out to the viewers, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
About their experiences with said subject. So let us know if you've ever taped your mouth up whilst out on your bike, or indeed at night.
I think taping mouth shut, there's probably going to be like just silence in the comment section. But I suspect a lot of us have got a bit shouty whilst riding.
I'm not so sure. I think that there'd be a few people watching this who have read James Nestor's book, shall I say, and might have started taping their mouth up at night.
I don't believe it. If you've started taping your mouth shut at night, get involved in the comment section, as well as people that, if you've got a temper on the bike, do you vent? Do you swallow it down? Take a deep breath? Look at the countryside.
And also, if you have started taping your mouth shut at night, let us know what effect that's had on the number of chin-ups that you can do.
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and we want to start with a shout out to Trek, again, for their open and honest assessment of their sustainability and ambitions, having published an annual report. Again.
That's right. 3 things jump out at me from this, okay? 1, you don't see this detail from other brands, but I think we should. 2, the scale of the problem of decarbonising the bike industry is clearly super complex. You can see that when you look at their breakdown of what an average bike takes to make. And you see that a significant proportion of the emissions come from products that Trek buy in, like components and stuff. Yeah. And then thirdly, they recognise that a new bike is always going to be less sustainable than the bike you already own or one that's been owned by somebody else. So, and I think this is really cool, they are starting to sell certified awesome, their words, not mine, used bikes.
Well, that's good news, isn't it?
It is good news, yeah.
Hopefully, certified awesome second-hand bikes have suitably awesome price tags too.
Yes.
Can only hope.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bit of trouble brewing over in New York at the moment.
There is, isn't there? Yeah. So there is a new breed, we read, of wider 4-wheel electric cargo bikes, which are undoubtedly good for the city, but which are making some cyclists unhappy by using bike lanes.
And when you see some of the vehicles that are being allowed on the bike lanes, it has to be said, you can kind of see why.
Can't you?
This image of a UPS delivery van on the W42 Street blog is essentially a minivan, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see that, can't you? It's a massive vehicle, clearly weighs a ton. It's got 4 wheels. The only things that stop it from definitively being a van is it's got a handlebar instead of a steering wheel. It's got 2 water bottle cages on there, I noticed, presumably because the rider will be working up quite the sweat, on what looked to be a very token set of pedals on there instead of an accelerator. However, as mentioned, it is good for the city, isn't it? So maybe the answer is just to make more bigger bike lanes rather than ban these and condemn them to car lanes. Or maybe we should just shout at them really loudly, "Get out of the bike lane!"
But with your mouth taped shut. I tell you what, they might be quite an appropriate support vehicle for India's big political bike ride, you know. So around 100 riders are now 39 days into a 100-day bike ride to drum up support for the Samajwadi Party, whose logo is actually a bicycle. They're basically aiming to cover all of the constituencies in the state of Uttar Pradesh and are hosting public debates, distributing pamphlets, and generally bringing a party atmosphere everywhere they go.
That is pretty cool, isn't it? I like that. I wonder whether it's going to work. I suppose we'll see at the next elections, won't we?
Well, you can only try, can't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Some tech news now. In fact, quite a lot of tech news. Giant have just released their 5th generation Defy, which is their endurance road bike. The headlines, lighter, bigger tyre clearance, and I've got to say, it looks nice and racy as opposed to like a really tall, endurance bikes, it gets a thumbs up from
Yeah,
me.
you like that one, don't you?
Yeah.
Joined Specialized with their new Roubaix and also Canyon's Endurace that Connor got his hands on just a few weeks ago, didn't he?
Yeah, I do find it weird that 3 big manufacturers have all released endurance bikes within a month of each other. I'm thinking either they all got the memo or it's an unfortunate coincidence, isn't it, that they've all released
particularly
competing
because
bikes.
it's Canyon's first new Endurace in about 8 years or something.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Bianchi, meanwhile, have released a new Specialissima, their top-line lightweight road bike, and have made it more... You gonna guess?
Aero?
Yes.
Yes!
It's aeroer, and it's lighter too. Interestingly, though, they are quoting an off-the-peg weight of 6.6 kilos in their press release and have given weights for the pedals and the bars and the stem, but no mention of the weight of the frame, which makes me think that in the quest for aero, they put a few grams on it.
A bit like you in your quest for chin-ups. You've probably added a bit of bulk, haven't you? Bit of...
Yeah, I've added about 2 kilos.
That's a lot of
Pure
muscle for Dan.
fat.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, while scouring the Bianchi press release for frame weights, we did notice a good bit of marketing verbal diarrhea, didn't we? So you ready for this, okay?
Bianchi's expert painters have created captivating transitions and gradients on the Specialissima frame to convey a sense of lightness. This effect is accentuated using iridescent paints that evoke a multitude of tones. Unfinished sections with exposed carbon create contrast of texture and aesthetics, while their distinct finishes further emphasize a sense of lightness and airiness.
You could have been paid quite a lot of money for that, mate.
Thanks, mate. And that wasn't even my proper voiceover voice.
You know what I thought when I read it?
Yeah.
If only Marco Pantani had had one of those, imagine how low the Outdoers record would have been then.
Well, it's a very good point, Dan. A very good. You know, he only had like, what was it? Is the Celeste colourway with a little bit of light black on there, and the yellow saddle. That would have slowed him down. Speaking of records, though, just as an aside here, I noticed that Sepp Kuss broke the Angliru Strava record.
Oh, did he?
By a minute. So he
Wow.
might have got dropped by his own teammates, but he took the most important crown.
What I saw, though, was that he was still almost a minute behind the fastest ever recorded time set by Roberto Heras in the year 2000.
Whoa. Heras must have had some serious paint.
I know.
Must have emphasised a sense of lightness
Yeah.
and airiness.
He must have. Although it doesn't count anyway because he didn't upload to Strava.
Good point.
Next up, hack/bodge of the week. First one this week comes in from Ross. I don't even know where to start, he says. Spotted in the work bike rack. They know it's wrong, in brackets so wrong, but they want it like that.
Well, presumably, so what we're looking at here, Dan, right, just to be clear, is a bike with drop handlebars, but then the brake levers have been mounted underneath the bars on what would ordinarily be, what, the tops there? I mean, I can't even describe it. It's so bizarre. How are you supposed to brake?
Well, where do you put your hands? Like you said, in order
Yeah.
to be able to brake.
So the drops have been kind of tilted up to create a nice, kind of bar-endy position, but then you can't reach your brakes.
No, I can't see any benefits to this setup, personally.
No, I would blatantly spike my knees on my brake levers in that position.
Yeah.
Utterly bizarre. But what's even worse is the fact that when you look closely, you can see that the cables have been carefully routed underneath the bars and taped in place for neatness. So it's clearly not an accident. Someone has done it on purpose.
They have done a very neat job of that in what is otherwise quite a messy looking setup. haven't they?
Yes.
Well, I think that's a bodge from me.
Massive bodge.
And it's a bodge from 92% of those of you who voted.
Oh, yeah. Okay, next up, this one from Bercy. Drop bar extra safety lights. So sticking with handlebars, this time Bercy has taken an ordinary red light and then stuck it through the bar end plug. So you've got rear-facing red lights on the end of your handlebars.
This is a commercially available product, isn't it?
I suspect it probably is. So they have basically done a cheaper workaround.
Well, I see nothing wrong with it. If it's a cheaper workaround and you're maybe utilising a light that you no longer have a need for at the rear of your bike to just manage to get it into the end of your bar somehow, it's going to give you some extra visibility, isn't it?
Yeah.
To other road users.
Well, I don't think I'd get much visibility around my massive quads. I don't think you'd see much from
No?
behind.
That beam would be going straight past my calves and ankles.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd be fine. Yeah. What I need are red lights on my ankles. That would probably help. Like, that's a commercially available product as well.
Well, I mean, if you can
only they
get,
come in a
if
big
you get
enough size.
red lights around all of your ankles, everyone would see you would come in, even if they were in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with hack for that one.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't want it personally.
No.
But yeah, we'll go hack.
Okay, 72% of people said that was a hack.
Whoa.
Next up, pedals kill cancer, Shimano stitched hoods.
That's a good username, that one.
Yeah.
That's
Who else
really
is annoyed by the rubber swelling of Shimano hoods? Happens quite quickly to my hoods, so I cut out a piece below the lever and did some old school stitching. Nice and tight again and holds up pretty good so far. Looks neat as well, I think, but what do you think?
I think you've effectively tried to do some light cosmetic surgery on your levers. And so no, I'm not annoyed by the rubber swelling of Shimano hoods. I've never noticed it before.
Well, I have noticed it in the past, particularly on a very warm day, that they get a bit loose.
Back in like
Yeah,
2004.
it was quite a long time ago.
Right.
Maybe rubber's got better since then. I don't know.
Well, no, I don't know.
I would say that the stitching has been done very neatly and would generally be out of sight. We've got a photograph that deliberately, obviously, shows that. But I'm still going bodge.
Yeah, I'm going bodge. I mean, you've just created a massive weak point, surely, in your brake hood. I mean, I suppose when it goes at your stitching, then you could just get an aftermarket, like, hood cover.
Yeah.
Presumably they still make those. I remember they used to back in the day.
Yeah, like bright colours,
I
weren't
had blue ones, yeah.
Did you?
Bright blue ones.
That
So it
sounds
matched
like
my...
a sin against cycling.
No, it matched my team kit, which was probably a sin against cycling. It was light blue and light pink.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll save that for another day. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling that at all. Sorry. 76% of you lot, though, said that was a hack. What?
Well, maybe it's a more common problem than we know about.
Yeah, okay. Right, last one then for this week, sent in by Rob Gleison. Electrician's tape on disintegrating tyre got me to the shop. This was whilst attempting Rob's first 100k. Did an emergency stop, realised that his back tyre was badly damaged. So the kind people at shout out Parsley Hay Cycle Hire patched me up with electrician's tape, and so it got me to my local bike shop where I replaced the tyre and I finished the ride. Woohoo! Now, so what we're looking at basically is someone has wound electrician's tape around the outside of the tyre.
Of what looks like a very worn tyre and rim, I would say. Not the sort of tyre and rim I might embark on a 100-kilometre ride with.
Now, if we were looking at this objectively, I'm not entirely sure electrician's tape against tarmac is going to last very long, nor provide much grip. So I don't think it's really going to have done the job, is it?
Well, it sounds like it did. It did the job of getting into a bike shop where it could be properly repaired or replaced.
But would he have got there anyway without his electrician's tape?
No, I
That's
see
I'm
what you
wondering.
mean.
Yeah, I think that might. If you're gonna put a boot on a tyre, you've got to put it on the inside, haven't you?
Yeah. It doesn't sound like this cycle hire place really knew what they were doing.
Yeah, Parsley Hay. Seriously, come on, guys.
After being given a shout out, apologies.
Well, yeah, anyway, you lot are on the fence, actually. 53% of you say hack, 47% say bodge. What do you think, Dan?
I will go with hack just because I now feel bad about what I just said about Parsley Hay Cycle Hire.
Okay, I'm going to say bodge, but, you know, it was like a mental aid, wasn't it? Like, so, you know, in that context, it's all right. There we go. That was all for Hack or Bodge this week. If you would like to see more hacks and bodges, then of course head over to the GCN app. There's loads. Thank you all for uploading them. You can get on there, get voting, and we'll pick 4 more next week. It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below, and we will pick a winner next week. Does that make any sense at all?
Well, we can always start again.
Should we start again? It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section below that relates to a photo we'll give you in just 1 second. Results first, though.
Results first. Here is your photo of Sepkus at the Welter relaxing with his dog.
That might have made the difference, you know, that dog. Relaxing.
I mean, he doesn't strike me as the most stressed character
No, that is true.
Or maybe that is why he's not stressed.
Yeah,
I don't think he's always got his dog with him. Either way, our winner this week is Medium Rick 7667, who put, Sep told the team he needs a loyal friend. The team told him to get a dog.
Oh,
genius.
I love what you did there, Medium Rick. Shots fired at Primoz Roglic and Jonas Vingegaard, who did become loyal friends by the end. Do you think it was just the avalanche of public outrage on social media?
They became loyal, didn't they? They did in the end. But I think that was management direction as opposed to both sides of it. I think it was management direction that you're able to race, so they raced, and then management direction, now you got to ride for Sepp Kuss.
To be fair, I mean, I sympathise. Like, you don't become a multi-time Grand Tour winner without being, a little bit selfish, do you?
Exactly, yeah.
So, change the habit of a lifetime for old Primoz.
Because we were so selfless that we never won a Grand Tour.
Exactly. So, hang on a minute. It was the fact that we weren't nice enough, but we weren't selfish enough either. Didn't wear. I know you did wear white shorts. I know. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you had a lot going against you.
I did basically. Yeah,
but actually, it was the blue hoods. Really, that's the difference.
Totally right. Go on then. Get in touch and we will get your GCN Elite bottle out to you, Medium Rick.
Well done. This week's photo is also from the 21st and final stage around Madrid. It is Remco Evenepoel in his polka dot skin suit and helmet with his hands outside of his bars or hoods.
It's not very aero, that is it?
No, it's not. And I was trying to sort of muddle with that for a caption. I've got a couple of options. I'm not particularly pleased with any of my my captions that I come up with.
Did you not sleep with your mouth shut last night?
No. Did you want to be the audience?
Yeah, go on.
Look, Mum, no hands.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Remco Evenepoel sets the bar high.
It's not very high, is it?
No, he's got all good in hoods. No. Well, that's all I've got, unfortunately.
Is it?
Three suggestions and just a small chuckle from Si.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, at least you have set the bar low to a certain extent. Anyway, you lot get involved in the comments section. Before we leave Caption Competition, can I just, I'm holding this rather delightful special edition, super jazzy elite water bottle here, a metal one, signed by the GCN team. Apart from Dan, which we realised, didn't we? Yes. Apparently there's going to be another version coming out. Anyway, last week, if you remember, we had that amazing video of Andrew O'Connor taming cows, like Crocodile Dundee, basically. Anyway, we wanted to give Andrew a special edition GCN Elite bottle for, firstly, letting us have the vid, which was super nice of him, and then secondly, also risking life and limb to tame the giant grass puppies that were coming his way.
I'm sure you mentioned this on last week's show, but what would you have said to the farmer if he'd asked you for some help in herding the cows?
No f***ing way, mate. No, I don't know. But they're being... I mean, it's a peculiarly British thing, but we tend to do what we're told, don't we? So if someone said, stop them, I probably would have been like, okay.
How?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Good point, actually, yeah. There's been a lot of articles in the press, in the British press this week about cows. There was even one in The Sun, which is like our major tabloid newspaper, and about cow fatalities. So it's clearly a thing. It's like gathering momentum.
Can I make a suggestion?
Momentum. Sorry, what?
Can I make a suggestion?
Go on, mate, yeah.
You stop reading about cow deaths.
It's true.
It might make your phobia a little bit worse.
There was one literally just last month.
Crikey.
A woman trampled whilst walking a dog.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Awful, isn't it? And this is what we just take it for granted. That it's like, we should speak up about it.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, get involved in the comment section down below. I think that's pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah. Coming up, what's on the channel this week? But first up, a few of our favourite comments, should I say, from the last week's worth of videos, starting underneath last week's show, where Manuel Dubler put, from my investigation, Alex Payton finished 71st in stage 4 of the Tour de Yorkshire in 2018, whilst Tom Pidcock came 90th. Does it count as a win? No. Did Alex beat Tom in a race? Yes, he did.
There you go. There's a claim to fame, Alex. Yeah, that's brilliant. Congratulations, mate. Then Breakaway 8 said, I love the long pause before Pidcock decides that he is, in fact, the world's best descender. It takes a lot of courage to just say, yeah, I'm the best road descender. Yeah, exactly. That's a big shout out, but I'm not arguing.
No, it's hard to argue against it, but Yeah, I mean, I would never say that between you and I'm the best person at doing pull-ups and chin-ups.
Even though it's clear that you are. Yeah. No, fair enough, mate. It's that kind of modesty that explains a lot, doesn't it? Anyway, there we go. Also, Clay E-Wings. Not sure what's more ridiculous, size cow paranoia or Connor's confusion that cows are in fact mountain lions. From my days of riding my newfangled mountain bike through my family's cattle ranch in the 80s, not to mention just working in a herd of hundreds of cows, one needn't fear grass puppies as a general rule, and running from them is both unnecessary and highly unlikely to incite them to chase after you. If they were the violent buggers you city boys think they are, the Union Jack cyclist in the video, that was Andrew O'Connor, would have been mush under their churning hooves. Maybe you're thinking of water buffaloes or hippos. So yeah, fair point. Good. But, you know, just what happens if they did decide to just smell blood like sharks? And
it's a fair point, well made, but not concisely made, I think, that comment, isn't it?
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. Anyway, when we got coached by AI and this is what happened, we had a comment from Reese Dawson saying, getting your wife to do a ramp test must be a sure sign of a strong marriage. Thoroughly agree.
Yes.
Whilst Higbert put, really enjoying the series with Chloe and Alex, big kudos on the jump from 235 to 270 watts.
Yeah, Chloe responded pretty well to AI coaching, it has to be said. Poor Alex, meanwhile, did not. I think he was probably at quite a high level to start with, whereas, Chloe, having not actually done any training before, has rocketed. She's giving Alex quite a hard time on climbs now, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, it's very funny.
Funny.
Under the 50th anniversary of Dura-Ace video, Tom Scott said, I've got the first generation Dura-Ace components on my 1977 Trek. It was my only bike that I rode for 45 years until last year when the crank arm broke and I didn't feel safe anymore. Still, 45 years of use isn't too bad. I tell you what, Tom, you should send that back to Trek and see if they can certify it as awesome, and then you could pass it on. Isn't that incredible? 45 years on one bike.
It is, yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. Well done, Tom.
I'd imagine you'd get quite a lot for those Dura-Ace components on eBay. You don't have to mention that they broke.
No, absolutely not, yeah.
You do.
First edition. And then Dino Vic said, I love the Wayne's World reference. I'm so glad someone got it. So glad, because there can't be that many of us out there that can still remember.
Yeah, Si's often very pleased with various references that he manages to crowbar into GCN videos, and is really upset if nobody notices, aren't you?
Okay, when you hear the word Schwinn, do you also hear Wayne's World?
No, yeah, I do now, but if when you say it like that.
Okay, there we go. Right, got it, done.
Meanwhile, under bikepacking the Himalayas, a trip of a lifetime, Emanjali said, I'd like Si to read my eulogy after watching this beautiful documentary.
Well, thank you very much. I'm available for eulogies.
Si's DMs are open on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'd like to slip into them. Whilst Alina Popescu put, potatoes are life, Simon, happy to agree with you there.
So true. Potatoes are just the best food source on the planet. I mean,
you like your carbs, don't you? Just see the amount of carbs you had earlier at lunchtime. Rice, oats, granola, all sorts of stuff.
But if I could have had potatoes, I would have had 10 times as many.
Really?
Oh, it's just when you think about what you can do with them. Chips.
Yeah.
Like mashed potatoes, roast potatoes.
Make art with them, can't you, if you've got paint? Remember you used to dip them in like...
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done that for a while, but yes, you can make potato art. Anyway, should we move on?
We probably should do, because I think the editor's slowly losing the will to live. Right, on to what's coming up on the channel this week. On Wednesday, how to spend your money wisely when it comes to bikes and components.
Crikey.
On Thursday, we don't advise you to do this, but you should anyway. Sounds intriguing.
It does sound intriguing. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Maybe it's taping out your mouth.
Yes.
Anyway, Friday, I know what this is. It's like Ron Seal, isn't it? It does what it says on the tin. Descending tips from Tom Pidcock. So after confessing that he is the world's best descender on a road bike, he then gave Alex his tips. So I'm looking forward to seeing what those are. On Saturday, we've got in the saddle versus out of the saddle. There's quite a lot of research come out recently to explain when you should deploy each. So that's pretty cool. And then on Sunday, Hank went to Italy. He gets some good gigs, doesn't he? To race Grinduro. So that's like the kind of like fun gravel events with like timed sections downhill. So
very good.
Yeah, you definitely need to check that one out. It's going to be good.
In terms of racing on GCN Plus, we've still got quite a lot left on the road for you this year, despite the Worlds having concluded. Tour of Luxembourg runs from tomorrow through to Sunday, if you're watching this on Tuesday. We've also got the European Championships a little bit later this year due to the World Championship date change, but they take place in Drenthe in the Netherlands, and there are some big names taking part in both the time trials and road races. Tour of Langkawi starts on Saturday and runs for 8 days, and Cyclocross has already started, with the first 2 rounds of the US Cyclocross Series last Saturday and Sunday, and rounds 3 and 4 are in Rochester in New York, I believe, this coming Saturday and Sunday evening European time, obviously during the day if you're over in the USA.
Wowzers, that is an awful lot of cycling racing going on, isn't it?
So it's sort of non-stop.
It is non-stop, isn't it? Also, what you should really watch on GCN Plus this week is the new documentary that's landed, which is Zoncolan. So that's me and Dan Martin riding up the Zoncolan. But it's genuinely, I've got to say, even though I was there doing it, but all the other stuff around there, some amazing interviews with people who know all about the Zoncolan. It's super cool.
I did notice in the notes about the documentary that you chose to go with Dan Martin because he raced up there at the Giro d'Italia in 2010.
Yeah, it's funny
So
that.
did I.
It took me a while to find you in the results, but there you are.
Top 100.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Even now I was breathing through my mouth. Imagine what I
Really?
could have done through my nose.
That's a good point. If only you'd known then. And you had black shorts in 2010, didn't you?
Did, yeah. Nothing going for me that year.
No.
Right.
There we go.
I think that brings us to the end of the GCN show for this week. Thank you for watching. If you've got through to the end, well done.
Well, if you got through to the end, it's almost next week, isn't it?
Probably is, yes. See you tomorrow.